one of the other things we were going to talk about is managing your expectations. So what we started off talking about was what was we talking about? About Christmases looking a certain way. You know, whenever we see pictures of big family events, we see loads of pictures of, you know, people like take photographs of all the presents they've got under the tree. And it's, you know, knowing that you don't have to live up to what everyone else is doing, that basically comparison is the thief of joy. So
That's it. Yeah, yeah,
just
exactly.
don't even look. Do you know what I mean?
And you know, your presence is your present. You know what I mean? Being there is enough. If you can't afford to get extravagant gifts, it's not about extravagant gifts. Make something nice. Put some thought into a handmade gift. I think that's more beautiful than anything you can buy, is to actually make something for somebody. Or, you know, just anything little, just little thoughtful things, you know, writing a letter for someone, writing a poem for somebody, anything like that is just a really nice way of doing stuff without getting too stressed. We get overly stressed with this money side of Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
Make it simple. You know what I mean? As I said, just being there with your family is enough, like, you know, and if you have that privilege, go for it, like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But like, you don't need to stress yourself out with buying excessive gifts all the time. Just make it simple. That's all, you know?
Yeah. And when you see people putting pictures up and videos up, just be aware that they're the ones they've chosen. Do you know what I mean? They're the pictures they've chosen. So if they're probably having family tensions and, you know, children tantruming and all sorts as well. So just be mindful that, yeah, social media is only a snapshot and it's usually the best bits.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. We're all taking 10 photographs to make sure they're all nice, and then there's only one that's actually proper. But like, that's it. We're only showing the parts that look good. Whereas behind the scenes, we're all going through a little bit of stress and loneliness.
Yeah, and it's just like kids are kids, aren't they, as well? I remember one year, I think Ben was probably about 3 or 4 or something, maybe 4. And he'd written a list to Santa, and I tried really hard to get everything. And he'd asked for a Thomas train. And he already had like 10 Thomas trains of all different sizes and stuff. And I didn't buy him another Thomas. But what I did buy him was like his new favorite Thomas movies, like all the characters. And like the Brio expensive ones, all the characters out of the film. So he had loads of Thomas trains. He just didn't have an actual Thomas. And he was devastated that Santa hadn't brought him a Thomas. And I felt really, really bad. And I think when I look back on it, I was like, I wish I'd known, because I would have just, you could get like a small one for six quid or whatever if it would have, you know, if it if it hadn't had the tantrum. But I think, you know, there's an element of sometimes a little bit of managed disappointment is good for the kids. Otherwise, they just think you're this endless, or Santa's this endless, you know, giver that can get you whatever you want, and it's just not realistic, is it? So, yeah, if the children don't appreciate, well, I would teach them gratitude as well. But if they don't appreciate, if there is a moment of tantrum, or, you know, they open the clothes and they throw them over the shoulder, even though you spent a fortune on them, you know, don't take it to heart. You know, kids are kids, aren't they? And I think it's a great time to practicing gratitude is a great thing on a daily basis. But I think it's a great thing to teach children at this time of year, because I think they expect to get this stuff, you know, and it's like, are we truly grateful, and how lucky we are to have this? It's a great time to show gratitude, because there's going to be something they're grateful for.
Yeah,
so it's a great time.
Exactly. And it's trying to show them the importance of what the real meaning of Christmas is.
Yeah.
It's not just about Santa and presents, it's about family.
Yeah,
you know, it really is.
Absolutely. And actually, this year is the first year that there's no Christmas magic. There's no Santa. I still write Santa on the presents, and it's the first year that neither of them believe, and it's really tough. It's tough on all of us. I think they're also disappointed as well, a little bit. Like,
Yeah, I think the first year as a kid, like the first year when you stop believing, it's like, what's it all for? You know,
yeah,
because your whole childhood, it's about Santi, like, you know, and it is, and it's not for you then because there's that little bit of joy gone. So we need to try and find the magic, I suppose, somewhere else as
yeah.
well.
Well, I still wrap things from Santa and stuff like that, and we had the elf on the
Oh,
shelf, so the elf
yeah.
is still out and about. Although I'm not quite so religiously moving it in the middle of the night like I used to. I'm not so bothered about being caught touching it now. Like, but it was hilarious actually because last year Ben was keeping the secret. He was being a Santa too because he knew there was no Santa, but it was Elliot's last year because I wasn't going to let him go to high school believing in Santa. So it was his last year of primary school. So he still couldn't touch the elf. So as soon as I got it out of the box, he was just like, "Oh, I want to touch it." It's like all these years he's wanted to touch the elf, and now he can finally touch the elf. It was quite funny. It made me laugh. Yeah, yeah. So it's knowing that like we're lucky to have our loved ones around us, and we're lucky to live in a country that is able to have food, and like not everybody's, and even in this country there's people that are not able to celebrate, so just be grateful whatever your situation is.
Exactly.
And don't
And it is. It's why you make it. Like, I used to be. I went year after year. One year I'd be Scrooge. The next year I was enjoying Christmas. I was Scrooge again, and I went back and forth many years. Really depressed at Christmas. I know what it's like, and lonely. Like, I was around people, and I was depressed at Christmas. And I didn't appreciate what I had. And like now, even though I'm on my own, I appreciate for what it is now. And I take on that Christmas spirit now. I'm happy at Christmas because it is magical. You know what I mean? And no matter what your situation, you can still bring in that Christmas spirit into your life. It really, really can.
And what is really great that I know you're doing is like that you are making the effort. I think I know this myself when the kids are away, not necessarily at Christmas, but when they're away, say they go in the holidays for a week or whatever. Sometimes I don't even bother to cook for myself because I'm on my own, and I think the temptation is to not celebrate perhaps, and that if that's what you want to do, that obviously that's okay, but you are still worth it even if you are on your own. Like you're worth it, like cooking that Christmas dinner and having all the trimmings, It
really is. And like, the year before, the last year I spent with family, I was in such a bad place. I was gone. The real Angela was just gone. She disappeared. I wasn't well. I didn't put up a Christmas tree here, and I put up a Christmas tree every year. And, I went home to family. I wasn't well, physically or mentally. I wasn't in the Christmas spirit. And so the first year I spent on my own, I said the only way I'm going to get through this without falling completely apart is to put up that Christmas tree, is to force myself into the Christmas spirit. And I made sure and I bought the Christmas ingredients very early, because if I didn't, if I'd have gotten too close, I would have said, I don't want that, I'm too depressed, I'm going to leave it. So I made sure I got all the ingredients very early on, and I actually forced myself last year to do it, to be happy. This year, I'm very excited because last year was a success, even though it was scary. And this year now I have all the trimmings and I have more presents for the dogs, and I'm just really more excited this year. I've had a few issues and triggers and anger issues and stuff up until now, but I'm really back in the Christmas spirit again. And it is about making that effort for yourself. As you said, it can be very easy just to sit there and pretend it's not happening, because I don't leave the house much. So unless I watch the Christmas, and I don't watch television, so I watch, streaming stuff. So like if I didn't leave the house, I wouldn't even know it was Christmas unless I actually did decorate or watch that Christmas movie, or go online, obviously, on Facebook, because it's everywhere. But yeah, so it's just to make that effort for yourself. You can make something magical out of something so simple.
Yeah, yeah. And things like a Christmas movie marathon is good, isn't it?
that since the middle of November. But thankfully, after like literally every Christmas movie I was watching was triggering me because of that loneliness. And it's only in the last, since I spoke to you on Saturday, that I actually started enjoying watching the movies again, because I've worked on my anger issues and I understood where they're coming from. So I actually was able to sit down and watch a few movies over the weekend, kind of going, "Yay, I'm back!" It's really nice because I was like, most of the movies I was watching were comedies, and I was getting so angry and so triggered screaming at television.
Yeah.
So to actually sit down and watch something now, and I don't have that tension in my heart anymore, I'm like, oh thank God. So thank you for that conversation on Saturday, because it really, really helped me.
You're welcome. Yeah, and I think as well, you don't have to be in the room with someone to be connected. So you can intentionally connect with people, give someone a call, or a Zoom, or there's other ways to connect. And if you aren't able to manage your loneliness by yourself, then reach out anyway. There will be people in your life, and if there isn't people in your life that you can reach out to, go to a community event, or go or there's numbers that you can ring so that you've got someone to talk to. Don't be on your own completely. Connect to somebody if you're feeling really lonely. What else? So I've got here another thing at this time of year that is grief.
Yeah, that's a big one. And like I'll describe my own experience. My granny passed away on 28th of November 2008, and that was very close to Christmas. So kind of after that, and I lost a friend on the 6th, and a workmate on the 16th of December as well in 2015. But most of my reason I was so lonely at Christmas for a lot of times was because we miss our passed on loved ones. We grieve them more at Christmas because it is so much about family, and especially when it's the first one after they die, it's very, very nostalgic. It's very, very upsetting. And back then, I used to think of death as final. I used to even fear death, and that was the reason. It was just like, they're gone. I'm upset. That was a loss. But as I transformed myself, I've understood that we're all spiritual beings living a human experience. So when we die, we just change form. So therefore, our loved ones are never really gone. And they're always, always with us every day of the year, but even more so now. And I tell you, I'm after getting a cat. Cats are very spiritual. I've taken videos of her and there'll be orbs all around. And the last couple of days, she's going cray-cray, literally staring up, going rare, rare. And I initially was a bit triggered. And then I was like, oh, she's seeing stuff. So I started recording her. It's like shooting stars going around the sitting room. There's so many spirits around me at the minute. This is actual proof that my loved ones are here to support me over Christmas more than they are during the year. They're here always. But they're always with you. And this is the thing, right? Instead of going into Christmas lonely that your loved ones aren't with you, go in and bring them with you, because they are with you all the time. Start remembering that it's the fun times. Like, I keep getting this touch on my head, like, constantly, over the last few days. I know I'm being protected. This is it. Look out for those signs. Instead of feeling lonely that you've lost someone, feel good that they were with you in the first place. Know that they are with you now in a different form. If you're getting those touches on your arm, if you're getting that smell, you can get smells that remind you of them. If they're coming to you in dreams, if you hear a song that reminds you of them, this is all ways they're sending you a message. So just, that's the thing. If you feel lonely, open your eyes and open your senses, because they're actually sending you messages. Yeah, open your heart. They're sending you messages left, right, and centre. They are going to be with you all through this holiday period.
And if it's somebody that you've lost quite recently over the last year or so, it's probably quite nice to start a little tradition of like lighting a candle for them, or sharing some memories with some loved ones. And it's okay to cry, and feel that sadness and grieve. And it's also okay to feel joyful. I think sometimes people can feel guilty because they feel like they shouldn't be celebrating because they've lost them. And it's okay. However you're feeling, it's okay.
want us to be happy. They don't want us to go into Christmas all crying and sad and emotional that they're gone. They want you to be happy and enjoy the season.
Yeah.
And that's why they're bringing you these messages, is to tell you that they're okay and they are going to be with you all through the season and every day of the year.
Yeah.